Oh, huh. I was already recording all of this anyways, and I just ended the recording. But uh yeah, so I will be recording these sessions. I will be posting these on YouTube on my channel for you guys to view. Right now there is actually no content on YouTube. I found that editing video, the only video editing software that I really found is like pretty expensive, and I kind of don't want to go through and pay tons of money to do it. And if I'm just snipping my shots to take out kind of like the downtime, I don't want to, have to use free software to do that and then output it at like 720p resolution, um, which is what software like Lightworks, if you saw that in my background here, that's what this does. It limits the output you can do, and there's a lot of complications I was seeing with that. So I'll try to just drop these in there raw, but we will hopefully get some better content later. But at least then you guys will be able to have references to go back into it, check it out. There's good tutorials online, like I said, if you want to do just something that's really hemmed in uh, for the development process of going through alongside somebody and making a project. This is supposed to be more of a learning opportunity, a way for you to get access to somebody who's actively developing to see what the process is from the point of creating a new project to actually publishing a new game. Not I don't think I'll be live publishing anything on stream anytime soon. Not stream, Steam anytime soon. Um, this project, I might be publishing on the Apple Store. I can't remember. I don't think so though. But we can go over that a little bit. Publishing an actual game is a little bit of a tricky process, and there's a lot to it. And since this is episode one, we're going to try to keep this kind of more simple and straightforward. So, yeah, this is your guys' opportunity to learn alongside the old Lone Crow himself. By the way, turn my camera on real quick before I get into this, because I do got to get some work done. It is 6 o'clock my time. I am Pacific Standard Time, uh, and I have to try to do um, a certain amount of work because I'm also publishing, which I can show you guys, instructional articles, which these will also be really useful to you. I highly recommend it. If you type essentially any question into Google and you follow it with Unity or Atom, it seems so. Like, let's see. So, how to animate sprites Atom. Bam. You just put my name at the end, and then here's a link to instructions on how to import, set up, and animate your sprites in Unity. So this is an example, which it's super crappy resolution right there, and the reason for that is because I didn't actually make these. I Googled sprite sheet and hit images, and there it is. And so I just dragged this into Unity using the steps that you'll see here and chopped it up and animated it. And in the end, you've got your animations. So since I didn't do these, they are kind of poor. The resolution's kind of lame, but it's instructional. So I absolutely love the fact that all you have to do is just put my name at the end of it. Um, so how to Unity Atom. I wonder if that'll come up with something. Oh, hey, looky there. That's not me. Atom is actually a Unity game or show or something that like looks beautiful, but it's one of the things they use for presentations. Okay, that didn't come up. That's not even so much of a question, but like, so let's say how to use for loops Atom. I just found this out the other day that my name comes up like that. Hmm. Well, at the very least, you go, Adam Reed. What? There it is. Oh, it's because I didn't title it "How to Make For Loops." So yeah, this one's how to make enemies spawn in waves. Uh, but yeah, so this is the development process of my 2.5D space shooter game. You'll see power ups, you'll see enemies, all this stuff, and I've got tons of articles, collectible med kits, restoring your player's health, different weapons. Let's look at that GIF one more time. Get that power up for the super beam. So, yeah, this will be a great resource for you guys. Just medium.com/ Adam W. Reed 93. Um, and you'll see all kinds of stories. I got 78 up there right now. Um, and yeah, so I am supposed to be posting about 5 of those a week. And so I was doing one every single day, but I work multiple jobs. I do all this stuff. It's a lot of work. And so uh, getting this out there every day is a little much. So 5 days a week, yeah. And at least for now, the goal is for me to be doing a lot of that live with you guys. So when you see me developing those stuff, explaining how to do it, and even writing those articles, I'll be doing it with you. So I turned my camera on and I took off the background removal so I can reintroduce you guys to my pup here. Hey Shira, you want to wake up? She's taking a nap. Come here. Come here. So this is my baby girl. This is Ashira. She is my best buddy. Actually, hold on. There we go. She is my bestest bud. Clearly doesn't want to be held up here. She actually hates being on camera. She hangs out during a lot of my work meetings and just kicks it. She was super tired and she sees what I'm doing. I'm showing her off and she's like, yeah, yeah, let me get my nap back. But she is a blue heeler, also known as an Australian cattle dog. She is sweet as heck. She's full of love. Um, and yeah, she will be joining me on this development adventure as my little background superstar. And she's probably going to go ask me for like a whole bunch of stuff. I'm guessing she wants snacks and all kinds of stuff. But actually, I can give her a carrot. She loves carrots. Mute my mic and cough real quick. And let's do this actually. Let's do an auto frame all the way out. Does that show it? Or is that gonna. No, it's gonna cut it off. Hold on. There we go. Do you want a carrot? Okay, here's your carrot. All right, all done. I get one too, though. Put the camera up there. Ah, my nose itches. Ah, allergies, man. Okay, so this is the Unity editor. If you just downloaded it and opened it up, you're gonna see something more akin to this. Hold on a second. Okay. So, uh, you're gonna see something like this. you can actually like move all of these things around, put them however you want to. Um, and then you can save your layout. So I have my layout right here. I also have this one that I use when I'm making cinematics and stuff to make movies. If you didn't know, The Mandalorian, the Star Wars TV show, from what I remember, was actually made in Unreal, which is a game engine, just like Unity. So you can full on make TV shows, movies, in-game cinematics, video games, whatever you want with this. I mean, I could make Microsoft Word in this thing if I wanted to. So let's see. I'm gonna go to my layout, and this gives me access to all the different tools and things that I'll be using, such as the animator, timeline, package manager lets me download stuff for like additional tools, and lighting, all these different things. So before I start, actually, I want to explain one more thing, which is the asset store. So the asset store is a website, and Unreal has one, Unity has one. I'm sure there's other ones that are out there, but this is a place where people like me or like you can develop stuff and then upload it on here to sell or for free. So if you're developing a game and you're like, I have uh, no skills at making art, well, you can just go up here and say, um, the Buy Unity ones are pretty good. So, and a lot of them are free too. So these are good. But you just go here and you just select price range. Nope, you want it free. And then all categories. So, oh, I guess I have to select. Okay, so we'll say free assets that are 3D. And then here you can get, looks like fruit. Looks like they got a character thing. Um, and see that these are 3D models. I'm guessing they come with animations and stuff, and totally free. Just download them. You can throw them right in your game. See, they got Lego stuff, um, all kinds. Let's click on 2D here. Uh, looks like a lot of because I have the 3D also selected. So, well, I got some 2D ones. They've got ones for sound effects, add-ons, tools, yada yada yada. But if you have a little bit of money, this can save you a lot of time developing. As look at this, you can get this entire landscape. Look how real that looks. None of that is real. You see that grass waving in the wind, the water, the rocks. Those rocks don't look super realistic, but yeah, all of that. You download this, and undoubtedly, it's going to come with all the objects. And so that means each one of these trees and rocks and mushrooms and everything you'll just have. And you can drag and drop them into your game and use them however you want. And then, bam, you've got like all of that done in your game. So that is the asset store. And it is a really, really handy thing. So I'm going to be using assets that I've gotten through the program that I'm in, Game Dev HQ, and I will be using those instead of taking the time to actually doing all the modeling and the art myself. But yeah, so also I have references over on my right side, which I'm going to be viewing. I can't show you those, but that's what I'm going to be doing and listening to, and then I'll be translating stuff over and creating it with you guys on the actual Unity project here. So yeah, let me make sure I've got all my stuff set up so that I'm ready to type out my new article. All the top secret stuff that I can't show you guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're going to be making a uh, platformer game where you are a character running along. You could jump, collect like collectibles and stuff, enemies, whatever. Um, and I am going to be listening to a bunch of stuff that's going on my end. So, uh, yeah, just kind of follow along. I'll try to narrate what I'm doing as I go, but I also want to try to stay close to this because it's like school. So essentially, I am streaming my schoolwork as I'm going through these projects with you guys. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm more knowledgeable than somebody who's just doing this themselves with no prior experience. Um, Actually, gonna get myself some healthy snacks, which I have been trying to eat better. So I've got some on hand here to make it easier, such as carrots and broccoli. Mmm, broccoli. So let's see. None for you though, Ashira. Get out of here. Hmm. So because I chose 3D as my default template, the game starts in 3D. And right here, there's a button, and you can switch between 2D and 3D. So I don't like the gizmos disappearing though. Well, I guess you don't need it. You'll see right here. This is called the gizmo, which a gizmo is anything like this. So this is a gizmo. This is a gizmo. I don't believe these are gizmos, but yeah, and you can change it perspective, ISO, go around. You can click on stuff to kind of switch between the specific perspectives. But double click on that right there. You can also do the same thing by doing Control F. I think, yeah, Control F. No, okay, maybe not. Control Shift F. No, okay. Switch to 2D here, since this is going to be a 2D game. Now I'm going to create a new folder. This one's going to be called prefabs. So the prefabs are prefabricated objects. So essentially, um, I've created this cube, and this is going to be the ground that you're going to walk on. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it and drop it down here in this is the project menu. So notice how this turned blue now. And now there's an object down here called platform. And so what I can do with this is I can just drag and drop this, excuse me, to create um, these different objects. And yeah, so this is what you do. Think of Super Mario. Super Mario has coins. Those coins are prefabs, also known as prefabricated objects. And so that way, the game designers make one coin, they add the code to it, make it spin, make it, glow and look golden and all nice. And then they just duplicate it all throughout their levels. And that way, they don't have to actually recreate all the different settings for every single coin that they do, because this simple cube, which I just right click and then I hit create 3D cube. You can also click this right here. It's the same thing as like right clicking, except it doesn't have the cut options. So there's stuff for UI, audio, lighting, 2D, 3D, and empty, which is use that all the time. It's like a file holder. So yeah, had to check the Discord. And, okay, so right here we got a number of different objects. Don't worry about these. But to start, we have the transform. So the transform, every object has one. And so even if I created a 2D sprite, which a sprite is another word for an image. So if I created a new sprite, it still has a transform, even though it's 2D. And it still has X, Y, and Z, even though it's 2D. And this cube that I made that I named platform also has those same things. So a transform is the data um, of that object's position, rotation, and scale on the X, Y, and Z axis. And so that means that if I take X and I rotate it, you'll see the cube will rotate on the X axis. And you'll see if I rotate the Y, rotates on the y-axis, and z rotates on the z-axis. With scale, scale it on x, scale it on y, scale it on z. I'm sure you can imagine all the stuff you could do with that. And then position is where it exists in this world. So if you look at this almost like it's a grid, 0, 0, 0. It's right here, center of everything. Which, by the way, this whole horizon that you got going on here with the sun and all that, that is default for the 3D stuff. And that is in lighting, and that is under environment, and that's called the skybox. So you can also change this for the environmental lighting source to a color. And wait a minute. I don't want to mess anything up, but yeah, so you can change it so it's not like that. I'm not going to be doing that right now. I will at a certain point, but that's a little bit more advanced. Don't worry about it. What do you want, Ashiras? No more carrots. No more. She's trying her best to be as adorable as she can, but it's not going to work. If you were following me before, when I was doing my live streams, you'd see me sitting there just eating whole bags of chips. So this time around, it's broccoli. Can you even see it? There you go. It's trying to censor it out. It's like, that's inappropriate, Adam, Mr. Lone Crow. Okay, so we're going to switch back to 2D view, and I'm going to change the scale to 5. The other thing too is if you press Control D, you will create a duplicate of whatever you have highlighted. Notice it'll have the in parentheses, you have the 1, and if I duplicate it again, it'll say 2, and even if I select this one again, it'll still do that. Oh. Put that back on 5. And then, so since this is a prefab, part of what's going on here is if I make a change, so let's actually put that back to 1. So say I make this 5. So this object that is a prefab, I changed it since making it a prefab. And now, if I drag and drop another prefab in here, it is the original. But if I take the changes that I made to this one and I go to overrides and I hit apply all, and you'll see a list of all the changes you've done, then it'll change all instances of this prefab, since they're all supposed to be the same object, just different instances of it, to equal, excuse me, point, or not 0.5, 5 on the x-axis for its scale. So these are going to I'm going to put the camera right here, actually. These are going to act as platforms for our player to stand on and jump around on. And another important thing to take into account is the fact that if you notice, it says platform and then platform 1, platform 2, platform 3. The reason why this doesn't say 2 is because it starts at 0. A lot of things in computer programming, game development, start at 0. So there's a thing called an array in video game development, which say I created an empty object right here. So this is essentially like a file, and I wanted to put all of these platforms into it and call, Jesus. Ah. And then I'll call it, we'll say platform folder. So that right there, I can now take and I can move all of them because they are, it's called being a parent object and a child object. So this parent controls all of them. So if I change the scale of this parent, it'll change the scale of all of them. But what was I even saying? Lose my train of thought. So this creates an array. So if you were doing programming, you could call this, and essentially an array is like a list, which a list is another term in programming, but in just human speech, an array is like a list of objects. And so this would be array 0, like the 0 object in the array. This would be the 1 and the 2 and the 3. So arrays always start at 0 as well. Even if we had it like that, this is still like the 0th object of this array, and this would be 1, and then this would be 2. So it's important to take that into account when you're doing stuff, because you can end up confusing the hell out of yourself or actually causing problems for your game. So let's continue. And by the way, I believe I got my NVIDIA settings updated to where, like, yeah, you can't hear me clapping. You kind of heard that one. So, I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast, and that's how I can censor myself without having a green screen and all that. But one of the other things they have is like audio suppressing. So, if I'm sitting here just like clapping, you can't hear it, even if it's in front of the mic. And so ideally, that'll make all my chip crunching and carrot eating and all that stuff less audible to you guys. But feel free to comment on how awesome it sounds to hear me eat all this broccoli. So. So, one thing that you want to take into mind is that when you create a new object, it's important to zero out your position, um, because otherwise you can end up with just these random directions. And when stuff gets childed under that, it can create an issue. An easy way to do that is just to click on these three little dots and hit reset, and it'll zero it out. So if I have like, oops, let's make it so you can see it. Bam. So yeah, we're gonna have all those under a parent object. So now let's create the player. I'm gonna add a zero that out. And I'm gonna add a tag. We're gonna tag this as player, and so this is essentially just giving it a label. So a name is a name, but no, Ashira, no. Now go on. Now she's begging. Um, sometimes with broccoli, you'll end up with like big chunks of the stalk, and this one's not bad. But sometimes if I take a bite and there's like a big chunk of stalk left, I'll just toss it for her. She likes broccoli, but no more. So, rigid body. This is physics. If you add a rigid body to your object, it will do this. Oops. Now, see how it falls with gravity? That is because of that. Uh oh, these buttons right here are for playtesting. So this is the actual game. You'll see the game views right here. This is the scene view, which is where you do all your design. And then, yeah. So the rigid body is a quick, easy way to add built-in physics that Unity has already pre-made. So you can do it easily like that, but a lot of times you'll hard code your own physics in. I oftentimes do my own gravity through code. But this object is very important. This is called a collider. This one particularly is a capsule collider to go with the capsule. You'll see there's box colliders to go with these boxes. So if you hit this button, you can edit it. And if you see, this cube goes out to here and to there. And this box collider can be stretched out or in or whatever. And the truth is, you can actually just create empty objects and add whatever you want to them as well. But these colliders are what allow these objects to be detected by other objects and be treated as if they're physical. So there's lots of different kinds. Some take up more processing memory than others, but you'll notice that this box collider has 4 sides. Well, 6 sides. um, and the cube, or the capsule, it wraps around it. And so, as long as is trigger is not checked, and at least one of the objects that contains the collider has a rigid body, then they will detect each other. And so the player is going to have a rigid body, and then the player, if you hit play, the game will start. It'll register those features, and it'll apply gravity. And this player, boop, will function accordingly. Create some other folders here real quick. Oops. I'm going to be creating my own physics. So, yeah. Instead of just using the built-in gravity, because it's nice, but I want to be able to fine tune things to work with what I want versus what Unity has just built in as like a blanket fit all type of situation. Create a collectible object here. All right, so all of these are actually going to be marked as trigger. And notice how if I check them, they're all selected like that. But if I select multiple and uncheck it, they will all be unchecked. and then because I am not going to be using a rigid body on the player, in order for the player to detect these collisions, I'm going to need to add a rigid body to all of them. So I'm going to click and then shift click. Oops. Did that kind of lame. And then I'll add a rigid body. Now, if it's a 2D object, rigid body 2D. Otherwise, regular rigid body. So they are set to trigger. So that means that they are not to be treated as a solid object. The player will be able to pass right through them. And for that reason, also, they are not going to have gravity. And so if I hit play, you'll see they do not fall, even though they have a rigid body. But they are going to detect the collision that is triggered upon contact with the player's collider and their collider. So, sure. So, an ant crawled across my desk, squished it with a tissue, threw it away. She's now trying to look through the trash to see if it was food. It was a dead ant. So another way to move your character around and detect collisions is with a character controller. So notice how um, there's still that green meshy line around the character. That is the character controller's collider that's built in with it. And so this, if you notice, there's slope, step offset, skin width, center radius, blah blah blah. This is what we're going to be using to move the controller through code. All right. Okay, we're going to create a new script. Call it player. And then we're going to attach it to the player. I'm also going to do this. All right, and now in the script, let's get into the code. These little notes here. We are going to create a handle to the character controller, which this is just a reference. Fix my blanket on my chair. So this is going to look like. Did he just? Ah. So we're gonna make this a private handle. So whoa, private character controller. And we're going to name it underscore controller. And the reason I named it underscore controller is because it's a private um, object here. And so if it was public, I wouldn't put this. And if it's private, I will. And that way, if I'm looking through my scripts and I see that something has an underscore in front of it, then that means that it's private and not public. And what a private variable or whatever means is that you can't um, you can't access that from other scripts. So if I have another script for enemy and the player has private player health as a like number value, the enemy cannot then shoot the player or bite the player and then grab the player's health and like minimize it. So if I made it public, then it could be like enemy deals damage, player's health goes down from the enemy script. And so since this is private, that means nothing else will be able to grab this. But now we have to create a reference to what this means. And so the controller is going to equal get component T bracket character controller. We're going to be doing the input here now. All right, and so now we're going to be delving into input manager, the axes. So, in case you're wondering how we're going to be moving the character, we're going to be moving the character controller through the input manager axes. And so there's default ones that are all in here, and you can add new ones if you want to. You just increase the size. We'll say 19. And now you'll see there's just one down here at the bottom. It's another one called cancel. Otherwise we can make this 18 again. There. And now the second cancel is gone. So we are going to be accessing the horizontal and vertical axes. And if you notice, these have a horizontal has left and right. For negative positive, it's like -1, -2 is going to equal left, negative or +1, +2 is right. The keys that you can press are going to be like the left and right arrow keys or A and D on the keyboard. You can set all kinds of custom stuff from this, but without getting into that, we are going to go back to the code. So, and end that playtest there. So I burn out my CPU. Oh, god damn. Swear. So I just moved into this office yesterday, and I cleaned everything. And those carrots are the very first thing that I've eaten in this room. And I've already got ants going on in here. Dang. I already put the carrots and everything away. Left out is my water, my old teacup, and see if that shows teacup, mug, whatever. And then that bowl with the ranch that I had, that's all over there. And these ants are going nuts, yo. That's what you get for living out in an area where there's like tons of nature around, though. It's okay. Okay, so a float is a type of like variable, and so a float is a decimal number. So variables, you have integers, you have floats. An integer is a whole number. A float is a decimal number. There's also something called a double, which is it's just like a float, except a double is like has even more decimals. Um, and so it's like a float goes up to like, the 30 second whatever, and then double goes more. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's something along those lines. Like it is that, but it's like how many of it goes into. I don't know. I don't usually do a lot of like mathematical stuff, so it's like if it's not like within the first three, then I need to change something. It's like 0.001. Not like 0.000 times 50, 25789. I'm not typing out pi here. So a float is going to be a decimal number. So it'd be like 1.5, 2.5. It's going to be more accurate to the actual number value than a whole number. And so uh, just like right here, how we said private character controller, we then named it controller, and then we declared it. So we got a handle to the character controller, gave it a name, and then we defined what that name meant, which that name meant get the component character controller. And this is going to be getting it. The reason it just says get component is because this script is attached to the player object. And so, sorry, it's supposed to be attached to the player object. And so it's just going to grab the. Did I do. Heck. Must have undone it. Remove that. Oh, because I must have done it during a playtest. So, let's see. Um, if you hit play and you're testing your game and you make any changes to your objects or whatever, so say let's delete this, delete this, delete this, delete that, delete this, and then I'm going to end my playtest. Boom, it's all back. So the reason it did that is because when you're playing the game, uh, it's not like updating the actual files. It's just like through the game, which I don't know the technicals why it does that, but it does. So okay, so getting the character controller, and then that allows us to, if we just type somewhere down here, such as like underscore controller, um, that automatically is saying like player object, uh, the transform, well, not that, but so the player object and then the character controller off of this, and then blah blah blah. And so I could say, I believe, character controller dot um, And it should say. Shira just handed me her toy. Which that censored like the wrong part right there. It's a pink bone. Take it and go away. Okay, let's just continue. So we're going to create a new vector 3. We're going to call it direction. It's going to eat a new vector 3. Horizontal input 0, 0. My mic gets like in my way some of the times, blocking my view. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna add another thing up here. We're gonna call it movement speed. So we're gonna say serialize field, which is gonna make it visible in the inspector, which this is the inspector right here. Notice on the player script, there's nothing really in there. Like how there's all these extra things and settings we can change. Here on the player script, there is just the reference to the script itself. And so by, even though we have this one private, but if you have a private object that is serialized, then if you save it, which that red line is going to go away here. Oh, wait, no. Forgot to say what type of object it is. This is a float as well. So this is going to be movement speed is going to be a number that is a decimal number. And since I saved it, you'll see now as it updates here in Unity, unless I made an error. Did I make an issue? Oh, right here. So that turned green. I just turned that into a note. So, bam, movement speed. And yeah, we're going to set the default to equal 5. So then now if we save it and we go back in, well, I guess whatever. So yeah, 5. So now we're going to say character controller is going to, character controller dot move in the direction times movement speed times time dot delta time. And then check this out. We now have a character that we can move. Bam. Bam. But that's all. He's not tied to the ground. There's no gravity. There's no nothing. He just moves left and he moves right. So if I press A, he moves left. If I press D, he moves there. If I use the arrow keys, same thing. But if I press up or down, he doesn't do anything. So, Ashura. Working. Go on. So I do want to point out that if this was a project that was fully my own in concept and creation, then let me get the stretch. Ooh. One more. Then this would be going by a lot quicker. So since I'm following through with design plans for this, I have to keep it tailored to what the overall design format is going to be, and because of that, I can't just like sit here and type all this out because I could also with this, um, I could add another float, and we can call it vertical input. Uh, and we can say that that is going to equal input dot get axis. Get axis raw just gets like a different variation of the numbers when you press it. And then we're going to say vertical, which if you remember, we're getting these words horizontal and vertical because these are the axes within the input manager axes for horizontal and vertical. So if we had changed that name, then you would have to type it out differently here. So, but yeah, I could just do that, and then I could add another one like this, and we're gonna say this one would be we'll say vert direction. I'm gonna delete this in a second. So, but this one we're gonna put that there, and then yeah, and then we've just added a vertical axis to it as well. And then I believe this is a really crude way of doing this. Just trying to demonstrate something. So we go like that. I believe we can now move on all axes now. Left, right, up, down. See how we pass right through those? No, 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 no. But can't pass through the ground. See that? And that is because the platforms are not set to trigger and the collectibles are. So let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. Okay, let's see. So then it looks like they want us to. They do like challenges for this program too, and so right here it looks like they're trying to tell me to create a velocity. Velocity variable instead of movement speed. So velocity is gonna be equaling a new vector 3. Let's see. It will have trying to remember. Say direction times movement speed. Oh, see, he said you're gonna have to create a new vector 3, and I was just like, I'm thinking like, why there? So then we're just gonna take velocity, and it's just gonna say this. I believe that's what he did. Oh, let me move my. Wait, didn't I? This is going to be collectibles. So let's program in some gravity then. So we're going to say if controller is grounded, and this is going to check to see if the player is touching the ground by using the character controller to detect it. Underscore gravity. What did he set it to? It's doing 1. Okay. So I want to point out if I press whoa. Well, that shouldn't work. I was going to say you have to put an F if it's a float. So okay, so then if controller is grounded, let's say if controller is. See, I would just do this. So he wants to say check if you're grounded, and if you're grounded, then don't do anything else. So just be just blank right there, and then you do else. Whoa. And then you're gonna do velocity minus gravity, I believe. And minus equals, right? Velocity is a vector 3. You have to do that a little bit differently. But yeah, so it's like something like that. And so I would just say skip all of that and just say like if the controller's not grounded, which adding that exclamation point just means the negative version of this. So if controller dot is grounded versus if controller dot is grounded equals false. And so this is actually the same as writing this. So, but okay, he wants if it is grounded. I think he wants to build off of it later. Oh, jump. So he's going to put in there. Oh, that's right. Velocity.y. So since it's a vector, we have to choose which vector we're going to be adjusting. So we're choosing the y-axis, and we're going to minus it based on the gravity. So we're actually going to do this as well. So This way we can customize gravity from within here, and that should be all there really is to it. And so the player huh. Hold on. If controller is grounded, else velocity dot y minus equals gravity. What am I missing here? Oh. I believe that all happened after you move. Yep, there we go. So now you'll see. What? So I'm not grounded. I hit play. And he falls. Notice how slow that gravity is? There we go. Let's just make it 10. Although it doesn't read it after it's touched the ground. So if you notice, we're going to hit play. I changed it during the playtest, so it went back. But I can keep dragging it up, and it's going to keep just falling down. But the moment it touches that ground, now it won't fall anymore because it's saying it is grounded. So we're going to change that to 10. Let's add a jump. He just reiterated on oh. Ha. Didn't mean to do that. That goes here. Why did I put it in the other spot? So we're going to say if input dot get key down. Wait, why is this freaking out right here? Oops. If input dot get key down key code dot space. Notice for every start parenthesis, you have to have an end parenthesis. Oops. Otherwise, it won't work. And then every statement has to end with a semicolon. Otherwise, it won't work. Except for if statements. So in here, if input dot get key down key code space, then I can have to create a vertical axis like before. Let's make sure I do it in the way that he wants me to. So he's laying out the pseudocode for me right now, which what the pseudocode is that's where you do something like this. If space bar hold on. So pseudocode is like if press space bar velocity dot y plus equals jump height yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to do everything in code, and so this is going to be just whatever way that they particularly want it. So once again, I'm going to serialize this. All right, so let's delete that pseudocode real quick. He wants get key down, key code space. Okay, have all that done. I believe it's plus equals. Hold on. Yeah. So one thing that bothers me though is that a lot of times what he does, which he does it for developmental purposes, of like you and learning, and essentially he'll like deliberately make mistakes and then backtrack on it, which is fine, but it's more work. And in other words, he wants it done like this right now. But if you can see, my gravity is a little high for this. Let's see. You can kind of see it like wiggle. So, and then now we're going to fix it. Also, since I took that movement out of that, it should work now to where gravity works even afterwards. Yeah. So that was a bug. I had accidentally put this within this else statement, and it wasn't supposed to go there. So hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So the issue here that we're facing is that when this is being updated to change the velocity to equal 15, it's immediately then rewriting it back to 0 because the velocity equals your direction, which the direction has a 0 for the y. So now we're going to cache the y velocity. Private. I'm probably going to change this. Oh no. Let's see if this one works. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, gravity's not working. Wait. Okay, this should work. Gravity. Nope. Wait, what? All right, I did something wrong here. Okay, so velocity time dot delta time, velocity dot y equals underscore y velocity minus equals gravity. Y velocity equals underscore jump height. Velocity, direction, movement speed. Just because it's what he did, I'm going to change this just to keep my naming conventions similar. So this is strange. Ah, no. Damn. That doesn't fix it. That's just aesthetic. velocity dot y equals underscore y velocity underscore controller dot move velocity times time dot delta time. So the only difference between my script and his right here is that he uses that, which isn't necessary. Whoa. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's it. No, what did he do? Hmm. Well, that's something. Then if score controller dot move velocity times delta time equals velocity. There's literally no difference. So why is it not working on mine? Bunch of kids playing like right outside my window. Hopefully the mic's not picking that all up. This is all ridiculous. So it's, and that's just because they're floats. What the heck is going on? So okay, let me see. And that's what happens if there's no gravity. Dang. Okay, what about 0.15? Ah. Okay. Why is my gravity not working in the same way that his is, though? Because he has his gravity set to 1 and his jump height at 15. Hmm. Well, Let's go 0.2. See how that works. Ah. So let's bump this up to 20. Make sure I got a good jump height. And then oh, that's cool. Huh. See, so here's something with game design is you got this character controller, right? You jump, everything's cool, which if you press spacebar, he always jumps the same height. And so this is why initially I was talking about not using the default gravity with rigid body, and it's because it's gonna do what it's gonna do, period. And this way you can customize it, set it, do whatever you want. But what if you wanted to do a little jump? And I just wanted to just tap spacebar real quick, just tap, and make him do a little tiny jump versus holding it down and doing a longer jump. Those that won't work with just default stuff. And so creating a modular controller, one that you can customize, is going to be more effective. And so what you can do to create something like what I was just talking about is you could create, which he might go into it eventually for this project, but um, you would take everything we've just done, but instead of doing just your jump, uh, having that jump height, you would make this be like a progressive number. And so your jump height number would continually go up as you held spacebar, um, by similar to how we're multiplying it by time dot delta time. It'd be jump height times time dot delta time, and then you'd have a check to make sure that once you've reached a certain limit, so like you can only do that up to a jump height of say 15 or say 20, then at that point then gravity will tick in and it'll start bringing you down. But I mean, maybe you want it to where you jump up really quick, but then you fall kind of slower, so it has kind of I think it's what Mario does. So then it technically tricks the game into being easier without the player feeling like it is. And so you run and you jump and you get that height, but then it's a little bit slower on the downfall, so it's easier to like land on that platform that you're trying to aim for. Now we got to do a double jump. So before he explains how he wants to do it, I'll say like one way you could do a double jump, it might be what he's asking, is you'd create another boolean, and so it's like because you can already check to see if it's grounded. So once it's grounded, um so if controller is grounded, then the first thing you do, so I'm just gonna do it. Technically, it's like a challenge, so he says like do it without him. So let me just show you real quick. So we have private bool. We're not going to serialize it because it doesn't matter. So bool is a variable that is a true or false statement. It can also be a 1 or a 2 or a positive or a negative. However you want to look at it, it's just true or false. So we're going to say private bool, since it's private underscore, and we're going to say is jumping. And by default, that's going to equal false. And so then we're going to say if input dot get key code space, then is jumping equals true, which, by the way, if it's in an if statement, you got to use two equal signs. So like if input dot get key down key code space, and use two ampersands to say and you're gonna say underscore speed equals 0.5 f. So if you just did this, it say it's wrong. But if you put two equal signs, it'll say it's right. But down here, you want 1. But we're not going to do that because that doesn't matter. So is jumping will equal true if you press spacebar. But so if controller is grounded, then is jumping equals false. So then you would just do another one for private bool double lowercase double jump already double jumped. It's kind of a lame name. I'm sure he'll have his other way of doing it, and I'll just change the name to that. But he would do something like that, and so then you could say if input dot get key down key code space, then is jumping equals true, and then you would do another if statement. Let me see. I'm trying to like think about you guys and explaining this because this is new for me doing a stream while I'm working, but then also taking into consideration logic. So let's see. You press spacebar, and then you're no longer not jumping, so now you're jumping, and then essentially else if input dot get key down key code dot space and might be an easier way to do this actually. So key code space and not nah, I'm gonna do it as another one. So and then else no, you do an if statement in here. So then if not already double jumped, then So if controller is grounded. Oh, no, hold on. Try to work this out. So then if you press space and you're grounded, you have else. Which means, so if you're grounded, otherwise, if you're not grounded, and if input dot get key down key code space, oops, and not already double jumped, then we're gonna say underscore y velocity equals jump height. And we're gonna say yeah, see if that works. Otherwise, yeah, no, that should work. That should that should give us a double jump. Oh, but I forgot to do one thing. So this is Flappy Bird. So I just accidentally created Flappy Bird. My bad. Now we can come back. You can't kill me. And the issue there is then, sure you've already guessed this, already double jumped equals true. And then is jumping equals false. Already double jumped needs to also equal false. So if you touch the ground, it resets, and then right there, jump, jump, that worked. But if I am sitting here, I'm just gonna spam spacebar. So, okay, so spacebar, 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 spacebar. I'm gonna press it like once every 1 second. Because if I spam it, it's hard to tell. Because it just does that. It just does one big jump. But if I can't press it a third time, so it completely works. So, yeah, and so now there's like 5 minutes worth of video in which he's gonna explain how he does it. So let's. Well, I can't show you, but I'm gonna watch it. When you're not grounded. Okay, so he's saying that you're gonna. So I'm gonna type out the pseudocode that he's writing here. The is jumping might be redundant. Because that's essentially what the is grounded check already does. Of course. He called it can double jump. Mm, uh, mm, I don't. I mean, I guess, yeah, okay. This is another way of doing it. So, what he's doing is he called it pan double jump. I called it already double jumped. So essentially, this is just to prevent you from continuing to do it, like Flappy Bird. Because down here, it's are you on the ground? Because if you're on the ground, you could jump, right? Um, and so this is only checking if you're pressing spacebar if you're on the ground. So as soon as you're not on the ground, the controller.isGrounded is coming up and saying that you're not on the ground. And so it's no longer checking. And so I added in here to if input.get down key code space while you're in the air. And he says after you jump, can double jump becomes true. Um, but then after you what? I think he's making his obvious mistakes and then he's going to correct it to like teach lessons and stuff. So hold on. Oy. So I'm gonna wait and see if it works. I'm gonna have to change mine over to match his. Oh. Hmm. uh. Oh my god. Okay. I'm like waiting to see the results of how this turns out. And God, Ashira, you're such a dork. Um, he's doing a lot more steps than I did. Um, no. uh, no. I'm not gonna do it the way he did it. I don't like the way he did it. Uh, so, God, that better not bite me in the end. Let me hold on. Oh, we're gonna be going into wall jumps eventually, like jumping from wall to wall. Uh, oh, that's right. Ooh. So just to look at my version real quick. So he couldn't. He made one that was high, like the one that's above there, but he couldn't get his character to get on there the way he did it. So he jumped, and if I jump, I can't reach it without a double jump. But I can easily. Which I could increase my gravity. Let's change that to 0.3. See what that looks like. Ah, I like that at 0.3. And then maybe jump height 25. Hmm. Nah, let's go back to 0.3. Now I like that feeling of the slow fall because then you can be more precise. Because I'm like, I gotta land right there, right there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it the way I did it. So I'll show you the way he did it is ooh, I actually oh crap. Oh. Well, I guess the next things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be writing an article for my Medium blog to teach you guys about how to create a physics-based character controller and how to add double jumps to your game. So sweet. I'm actually oh, I'm already on that. So okay. Sweet. That's going to make this easier. So that's going to be all the development that we're going to do on the game today. So I'm gonna have to get off. It's getting pretty late for me. Take out the pseudocode. So let me explain to you guys real quick before I start defining this in an article. So what he did Uh, Here, let me. So this is called noting out your code, and so I'm taking. Um, I'm adding these lines, and it's turning these into notes that are not being read by the compiler. So I believe that's everything I did there. And now let's see what he did. So he went, not as a note, he went private bool can jump or can double jump, which is false by default. And then here he said if you press space, then can double jump equals true. So you've already jumped, so now you can double jump. So that's one way to go about it. I looked at it as, and this is a great example of where two different programmers solve a problem in a different way. And it's not to say one way is not better than the other. Some ways can be more efficient. Some ways can be simpler, but some ways can be more modular. Some ways can be more precise to the way you want it. Um, so yeah, like I was talking about, like I want a little bit slower of a fall speed, so I lowered the gravity but lowered the jump height, and then that way you don't fall super fast, but you don't jump too crazy high. Um, so there's some weight to your decisions, but it's a little bit more lenient, and I like that because games where you fall too hard, especially as a platformer, it's way too crazy. Celeste, hugely popular game. I've never played it, but I've done research on it, and they have this. I can't remember what they call it, but if you're running and there's a surface and you step off of it, you're actually still running. They extend the collider, so it's not visible to the player, but or no, they don't extend the collider. They just extend, so like instead of saying if you're grounded you can jump, it's after you're not grounded, you have a half a second to still be able to jump. So you're like, okay, back up, ah, and then you miss and you jump. It'll still let you do it, as if you didn't, as if you jumped at the edge and didn't actually miss it. So it's like the Wile E. Coyote from the Looney Tunes, in where he runs and he's standing on the edge and he's like, looks down, is like, oh crap, and then holds up the sign, and then he falls. It's just like that, and a lot of players wouldn't notice that there's that little extra bit that you can still jump, but it makes the game feel so much cleaner, more forgiving, and good design. The players will never know that you're holding their hand. So, um, it's all smoke and mirrors. And sometimes a little bit of a handicap can make for a lot better game. And in the case of Celeste, it actually improves the handling so that they can make the game more challenging. Because if it was the handling was crappy, then the more challenging it gets, it doesn't feel like it's a fun challenge. It feels like it's an annoying uh, struggle. And I have to go find out where Cheryl went. She disappeared. Right back. Crazy. Let me turn my camera off. Do it in here. On chair. Squishy. What do you want? What do you do? What are you doing, huh? can harass the hell out of me. See a little tail wagging. Okay, so uh yeah, so he wants to do that to where you check if you can double jump, and once you've jumped, then you can. Although, did he do a check? No, he didn't. So there's actually a bug in his script. So if he jumped, so I'll do it the way he did it, and then I'll show you the bug in his script. Which this guy is great, by the way. He's an amazing instructor. Game Dev HQ is an amazing program. I highly recommend it. I am very satisfied with the $1,000 that I spent to join the program. Like, don't get me wrong, we all make mistakes. So, and it's easy for me to look at this and be like, take all the time I want to break it down, as I'm literally breaking it down to explain to you guys in a similar way. And so, Uh, let me see, where was the script again? So, okay, so then he wanted to do. She's standing next to me and just loudly chewing on her plastic thing, trying to get attention. So, it's can double jump equals true, and then in is it says if God, this microphone's like right in my way. So if input dot get, I need to stop looking at my hands when I type anyways. Get e down. It's just hard for me to do like the parentheses and stuff. Key code dot space. And then he wanted to go into that more, and then you're going to do another if statement, and you're going to say if can double jump equals true. This is where one of my cringes came in. And it's because he's not using anything else in here. So he literally should have just done what I did here and say and can double jump. So like this. And then just removed this. Because this is the same thing. It's exactly the same thing as what I had right here. This and this, same thing. But it's like more cluttery, so I didn't like that. I'm also kind of OCD, so so then we're gonna say the y velocity plus equals jump height. So I just said equals jump height, but he's adding it to it, which should do roughly the same thing, and we can test that out. And then I'm gonna say he says then can double jump equals false. And that's it. So let's look at what this looks like in Unity. Maybe I can show you why I don't like it. So there's a jump. So I tap it twice. Let's see how high he goes. Shoots off the map. So it works. But now let's see what that looks like with mine again. Now, if I double jump it, I'm like trying to hit super fast. Oh, wait, did I do something wrong? Already double jumped. Velocity, already jumped. It's true. I feel like my double jump is gone. Wait, what did I do? I think I did something. Yeah, because there it's working. Oh, did I not? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So double jumping, just spamming spacebar. That's the max height we get if you just hit them both at the same time. And so I believe the difference there is because he used plus equals and I just use equals. And so we'll see if the velocity plus equals height. You're turning jump height into 30 instantly. Yep. So I spam it and he does that. So that's the biggest difference. And yeah. So I don't like that. But let me put this back to what it was. Wait. There. Okay, that should be his code. And let's test it again. Yep. So there's his code. But here's where the bug comes in. So you notice how I put up here already double jumped equals false. He's going to need to have one that checks after it's grounded as well to reset it. Because can double jump is false. If you press spacebar while you're on the ground, it becomes true. But it only becomes false again if you do the double jump. Which means because then it's if you're not grounded. So let's see. Let me turn this into a serialized field. Oops. And you'll see what I mean. Sorry if you're watching this, John. I'll pick you apart for learning. At which point you'll see right here, can double jump. It is a Boolean, so it just checks or unchecks. It's just true or false. So, wait. You can't see that because I'm doing this. Maybe you could see it. Okay. So right there. And so for this, what we're going to do is we're going to do the play test and you're going to watch this checkpoint. So if I jump, it checks. But now I'm on the ground and I'm moving around and it's still checked. And I'm going to jump again, it's still checked. I can double jump right now. But what is the point of waiting to say that you can double jump until after you've jumped? If I mean, as soon as you do it the first time and don't double jump, you just do a regular jump, you'll forever have that. Because that means that if I just fall like this, and then I jump. Notice it's gone. I couldn't do a double jump if I walk off the edge. So I just fall. I only have one jump left. Which, I mean, if you want that, because then falling counts as your first jump, but that's only half the time, because that's only assuming, because like if I fall off right here, I can. Why isn't it letting me jump? Oh, that's the other issue with it too. Um, when he was testing it, I saw this. So if I jump and then wait a second to jump, because if I jump and then jump, you'll get a lot of height, right? If I jump real fast, shoot up there, just bow, bow, which I'm gonna actually turn off the noise reduction on my microphone. So now, yeah. So now you can hear my mini fridge. Now you can hear Shira farting because it's totally her. It's totally not me. Uh, but then you can hear my clicks, my clickety clacks. So this is, oops, back in the game. Notice how if I wait until after he's falling, then he doesn't have a jump height. In fact, if he's already moving down and I press jump again, all it does is stop me. It doesn't actually jump. So that's broken. And that's because of this, the plus equals. So if I just change his code to an equals, it should do the right thing. So you can, because if I jump and then jump again, it should be just jump. So if I can jump 15 feet and I jump 15 feet and then jump another 15 feet, cool. But if I jump and I try to jump again at 5 feet, I should only make it about 20 feet. So by doing it the way I'm doing it now, you'll go 20 feet instead of 15. But the way he does it with the plus equals, because it's velocity plus equals jump height, well, your velocity equals your direction times your speed. And your direction is your horizontal input, which is 0. So for the y. But it's equal to jump height. You'd think it'd work. I see where he was going for. But it causes that issue. And then the other issue, so there's two issues. He shouldn't have used the plus, and, well, the plus is right here. And he needs to have the check up here for once you're grounded again, then the double jump becomes false again. But now that we completely understand the differences between his code and mine, I'm going to delete his off of mine. And actually, I'll delete mine. Like I said, his coding conventions are going to be different. We're going to change this. I'm just going to correct his to can double jump. Equals false when you're grounded, equals true when you've jumped, false when you've jumped again. Added that just to make it simpler. And then equals. Yep. That's it. So that should be good and clean and synonymous with his. Yep. And there you go. So now we're going to save the scene. We're going to save the project. And I never renamed my scene. Did he rename his scene? No, he didn't. All right. And so then I'm going to exit out of Unity. Once everything's saved. And I'm going to exit out of my script. Once again, I'm OCD. And we're going to open GitHub Desktop. And here's all the changes that we've made to the project thus far. And I'm going to say added physics character controller along with a jump and double jump feature. Period. I'm not even going to put a description. This is just, if you look at history, you'll see what you name it. So this is default, the initial commit. That's when it added the README, and I added a git ignore. That's just stuff with GitHub. I won't explain it. It's like complex and whatever. It's not really, but I'd have to go through stuff to let you understand it. So then this is the first one I did. That's when I made my project. So once I actually built it in Unity. And then here's the changes. And so you'll see right there, if you click it, I didn't do a description, but you would be able to see all the changes and you could see the description and whatever. But right there, it just comes up with a title. And so right there, I just put what was done in this change. And then I'm going to hit commit to Adam's development branch, which I have two branches, my main and my development. So that way, if I mess something up and I commit it to this and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good. And then I look and I'm like, oh, no. Oh, what did I do? I'm so dumb. My main project isn't corrupted. And so, yeah, so if I deleted anything and committed it on accident, it's fine. I can still go off of this. And worst comes to worst, I can go back to my older commits and I can revert. And so you can right-click it and say revert changes, and it'll go back to the last time that you did that. So I'm just going to go right here, added physics character controller and a jump and a double jump feature. I'm going to commit it to my development branch, and then we are going to push the origin. You can also click right here. You'll see it loading. And what that means is when I commit it, it adds it to my local repository, but when I push it, it pushes it onto the GitHub servers, and so it's completely online. So if you don't push it to the servers and your computer catches on fire, which I use that example because it has happened, not to me, but to people, then, I mean, you're screwed. So, yep, you push it to the servers, and then you're good. And it says fetch origin because say I am working with a team, and they've been committing changes. And I come in after my weekend and sit down for some work. If I don't hit that, then whatever changes they've made aren't going to be updated on my computer. So I'm not working with the most up-to-date version of the game. I'm working with whatever the last time that I've fetched the origin is. And so I'm not working with anybody on this project. I am on other projects. So this doesn't really matter for me right now, but I am going to go over to my main branch, and then I'm going to go to branch, and I'm going to say merge into current branch, and I want to select my development branch. There's one commit that is not merged, and I'm going to merge it. And then I'm going to push it, Push it real good. And then my main branch and my development branch are now the same. And so I want to point out that if I go to my development branch and I go into my Unity project, we're going to go to 2.5D platformer, and I'm going to add a new folder, and we're going to call this tacos. It's very important that this example is named tacos. So I'm just going to leave that up right there, but I'm going to change. Let's do it like this. I'm going to change it to the main branch. And actually, I got to open it up again. So then we'll go Unity Projects, 2.5D Platformer, and... okay, hold on. Get out of here, tacos. So we're in the main branch right here then. Okay, so I'm going to go into my file, and then here I will create a new folder named tacos. And then I'll exit out, and then I'll change it to my development branch, open it up, 2.5D platformer, and okay, that's frustrating. I don't know why it's doing that, but usually they're completely separate. I'm curious why it's doing that. And that way, every change that I make in here doesn't actually affect the changes in there. So, as a matter of fact, maybe it's just because it's an empty file. I'm going to delete those taco files. So then let's take... I'm in the development branch. Let's do this again. So then we're going to say in here, assets, script. I'm going to take this script folder and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to name it tacos. I'm going to add it here. Open that back up. See, tacos, it's been changed, right? But I haven't merged it or committed or nothing. So we're going to switch branches. Says, you have changes on this branch. What would you like to do with them? Leave my changes on this development branch. Your in-progress work will be stashed on this branch for you to return to later. Or I can bring my changes to main. Your in-progress work will follow you to the new branch. Hey, don't do that. That's like a merge, and that defeats the purpose of having a branch. So I'm going to leave them. Switch. No changes. Which means if I go in here, 2.5D platformer, no tacos. But if we go back, we stashed them. So we're going to view stash changes and restore them. And then platformer, oops, tacos. We're going to delete. And now there's no changes. So I hope that that was useful. Delete that. And yeah, I have got a new story to write on creating a physics-based character controller. Creating that too. And with that, let's see, what if I just press this? Does it do it? It does. What do you know? Let me take this off and let me see her back there watching me. I see those judgmental eyes. I know you're upset that I'm not playing with you. She's like, yeah, sure, like you care. She was actually pouting because this is my new office. I'm still remodeling my house and stuff, and my closet looks empty. The upper shelf is full. I've got all my work binders and stuff. Those are all my different game designs and things in here. And then I put some stuff behind me here. I got my golden Pokemon cards, but in that briefcase with an explosive device in it. But yeah, so I'm in the process of remodeling my house. I had this extra bedroom. My living room is pretty much empty right now. But I just spent like over $2,000 buying some new couches and recliners and stuff. So that's gonna be pretty cool. It should be delivered here in the next like week. But I moved my whole office from inside my room, and I put it into this extra bedroom, and so now this is just my private office. And oh, I was like, looks like there's a cup there. That's the trash can. So yeah, I am gonna be doing a bunch of work, and with that, I think that I will wrap this up, you guys. Thank you for those who are watching, and thank you for those who come and view this later on. I am, wait 1 minute. There we go. Zoom in. I am Lone Crow 503. You can catch me on Twitch, on Facebook. My live streams, I'll be doing these all throughout the week, almost every day, for hours and hours on end, since this is just my work. So I can only stream stuff that's not under contract. Also, this is a little blurry. Not too happy with that. There we go. Okay. So I will be streaming this type of work. Eventually, I might stream some personal projects. I have to be careful about that because, legal stuff, copyrights, people stealing things. But the things that I'm not under contract for with NDAs and whatnot, which are non-disclosure agreements for those who don't know, I will be sharing with you guys here. So this classwork, the development of this game, this 2.5D side-scroller platformer is going to be the core project I'll be working on for a while for all the schooling stuff. And if you guys stay tuned, stay with me, you'll be able to see the process for everything you've seen today with the creation of it and everything, all the way through the finale when I build the game and then upload an actual playable version of the game on GitHub. So if I didn't already, by the way, I will link that here. My GitHub is right there. Right there in the chat. So also, I got the chat to pop up so that you guys can, when you type in chat, you can see it on the screen. So, but all right. Sure, come here. Come here. She is so pouting right now. She's hard pouting. Let me turn off my auto frame right here. Come here. Come here. I want to show you so you can say goodbye. She hates being on camera. Say bye, Ashira. Say bye. Say bye. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys next time. And with that, I bid you adieu.